Let's take you back to KZN now, where the AmaZulu King and the Motsepe Foundation are visiting families affected by flooding in KZN. Almost 400 people have been killed and thousands have been left homeless. The KZN Premier in Durban and Mayor have now joined the delegation in a part of KZN, and Siphamandla Goge is in the area and joins us now for an update on that. A big concern for many residents across part of the country, Sipa, has been that there haven't been a lot of resources deployed to assist them in rebuilding their lives and livelihoods, but you are seeing some movement in terms of the participation of various stakeholders now entering these communities, assessing the level of the damage and seeing what it is they can do to contribute to the repair work.
Indeed, there have been growing calls for the private sector to come on board, to come on board and assist those who are affected by the recent floods here. Patrice Motsepe has heeded that call. He is assisting the flood victims in KwaZulu-Natal. We are in Marian Hill, whereby people are trying to rebuild their lives. We'll just take a walk and show you here those clean-up and mop-up operations. This is where Dr. Patrice Motsepe and Zulu King, that is King Misuzulu Gazwelithini, KwaZulu-Natal Premier Sihlezi Galala, and the National Minister of Kokta, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Police Minister Bheki Cele, Tegwini Mayor Mxolisi Kaunda are expected to be among those leaders who will visit this area of Marian Hill. We are told that 2 people passed away here when they were washed away by the floods. A granny and a grandchild were washed away, and this is really sad. It's devastating here. As you can see, local community members trying to clear here so that they can be able to find at least a way through here. Let's speak to this gentleman. His name is Lennox Mtateni Mabaso. He speaks on behalf of the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government. Give us the latest. What is the death toll in KwaZulu-Natal currently?
Well, the death toll at last count, which was yesterday, was sitting at about 395. There will be an update that will be done through our Department of Cooperative Governance and Treasury Affairs this morning midday.
Let's talk about this intervention by the private sector businessman Patrice Motsepe coming here, AmaZulu King, Misuzulu Gazwelithini. We understand that the Motsepe Foundation is going to assist those who lost their loved ones with burial costs. Talk to us about that intervention.
Well, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, together with His Majesty the King Misuzulu Gazwelithini, as well as Dr. Patrice Motsepe, who is the CAF President and the Chairperson of the Motsepe Foundation, will be here to also lead assessment, but also to lend a hand in terms of ensuring that people are able to be assisted in their hour of need. Currently at this site, this is the first site that they will be visiting, and I think when they get here, you will be able to get all the details, and they will be able to address the media later on.
How are the clean-up and mop-up operations across KwaZulu-Natal? The weather doesn't help this weekend, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of work. Our disaster teams are doing quite a lot of work. There are a number of areas that have been opened up. There are a number of debris that has been cleared. It's all hands on deck. If you go in all the highways and the byways and all the access roads in townships and rural areas, you will see our disaster teams hard at work, doing work. They have been working overtime, and we've been able to make progress and to restore services in some of the areas. So we are actually seeing a lot of mounted spirited effort by our disaster teams to ensure that we improve the situation. But there's also a number of interventions which are being done by both national government, province, local government, NGOs, to ensure that we mount a spirited response to this tragedy. There's quite a lot of work in terms of support to those who are bereaved, who are victims, to ensure that they're able to bury their loved ones, but also responding and ensuring that people are able to be provided with immediate relief and assistance. So it's all hands on deck. All phases of support required at this point in time is being done, and including ensuring that services are restored. That's a priority for everyone at this point.
Water, electricity, those are the most basic services that people need. But most importantly, a number of people are still missing in KwaZulu-Natal. Do you have any idea how many people are unaccounted for?
Well, sadly, that's a situation. What we don't want to do at this stage, because we are dealing with a live situation and it keeps evolving and developing, we want to communicate accurate information and avoid sensationalism. In a state of disaster, you also don't want to create further panic. So that's why we prefer to give statistics and details at regular intervals through relevant authorities in a coordinated approach. When Cooperative Governance and Social Affairs Department of KZN gives an update today, we'll then be in a position to indicate to you what are the details in terms of the missing people.
Thank you very much for time. That is Lennox Mabaso, who speaks on behalf of the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government. We'll take a walk here and see people being busy, rebuilding their lives, trying to clean up, because there is nothing they can do. Life has to go on despite this tragedy, but there is no other option really for dozens of residents of KwaZulu-Natal who have been affected by these floods here. You can see that this used to be the roof of a house. You can tell that it was damaged during these floods and the storm. So it's a situation that has affected many parts of KwaZulu-Natal, not only eThekwini, but even districts such as Ugu, Umzinyathi, Umgungundlovu, as well as Ilembe. If I'm not mistaken, there are more than 30 people who have been confirmed to have died in Ilembe district, which is the second worst hit after eThekwini. Look at this devastation here. You can see roofs all over, furniture, I'm talking about mattresses, beds and fridges and everything completely destroyed here, and they need to clear up and open up what used to be a road that connects these two areas here in Marianne Hill. Right now you can see devastation. More than 395 people, should I say about 395 people confirmed dead. President Cyril Ramaphosa saying 1 billion has been set aside to assist KwaZulu-Natal following this tragedy, and authorities have welcomed that, but there are fears that more damage could be registered once those cleanup and mop-up operations have been finalized and concluded. Look at how people's houses were just washed away and destroyed during these floods.
Absolutely devastating, Siphamandla Goge, but perhaps give our viewers a sense of how you and the rest of the team have been able to navigate the province, given that many of the road infrastructure has literally been washed away over the last few days. Talk us through that challenge that you have faced as a team.
I guess for all media personnel it's been a difficult one, because how do you travel around a province that has been ravaged by the floods? How do you access areas that are inaccessible? Let me tell you, one of the stories that we've been unable to tell is a story of those people who are still trapped, who have been disconnected in rural villages. One of my police sources was telling me that police have had to use a chopper to access one of the disconnected areas. When they got there, they found community members digging, preparing to bury 4 people who died due to the floods. Now, those deaths were not registered simply because there was no way that local community members from that area could access police. They couldn't call police because there is no network, there is no water, electricity. They had to sit with dead people for 4 days, and after 4 days they decided to say, you know what, there is nothing we can do, we can only bury them. Luckily the police were able to reach them using a police helicopter and chopper, but it was too late, because people have been saying we've been disconnected, we couldn't make calls, we couldn't move, our only bridge was washed away, our roads were washed away, we are isolated here, we don't have food, we don't have electricity, no water. That's a devastating story, and it's been difficult for media personnel. Besides the emotional trauma that you register here when you interview people, you see this devastation, you see people who have lost. For instance, the story that we did yesterday, the Mdlalose family in Umzinyathi, Inanda, they have lost 10 family members. 4 bodies were recovered, 6 people are still missing. They have been unable to find those missing people, 6 of them. They were telling me that we've got 4 bodies at a mortuary in Phoenix. We are trying to prepare for a funeral, but we can't bury these 4 people because we need to find the 6 that is missing so that we can bury all 10 of them. So imagine, as a family, 1 day, 1 night, one incident, you lose 10 family members, just like that. It's so traumatic and devastating.
No, absolutely, very devastating and traumatic experience that you all are reporting for us, and we just want to say thank you very much. And of course, we'll be catching up with you a little bit later as you follow the private sector that has been going around different parts of the province to see where they can help. Siphamandla Goge there, keeping us abreast of those developments in KZN, along with many of our other reporters.